Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Cellmates are important. And a lot of times you don't have a choice in what type of cellmate you get. And this story is not about the bad guy coming into the cell. This story is about the bad guy being already in the cell. What do you do? What do you do? You try to survive the experience. You don't know what's going to happen, and you're thrown into a bad situation without really knowing what to do. I remember when I first got locked up. This was in the orientation part of my incarceration. This is even before they sent me to Max. I want to tell this part of the story because I want to, so you can have some proper context. It happens to everybody. I remember when I was in the orientation part of the prison before they decided they were going to send me to Max because of the trials that I had coming up. They put me in the cell with this older head dude that had been locked up for a while. We even rode to the prison in the same police car, you know. And I could tell he had a funny look about him, you know what I'm saying? Looking at my legs and all. I'm like, what's up with this dude, right? So when they put us in the cell, he threw this slick comment at me, right? He didn't know what was up with me, you know what I'm saying? But he threw this slick comment at me, right? So I got up and I told him, I said, look, get up, man. He was way bigger than me. Get up. So when he rolled over and got up, he had a smile on his face. And before he even knew it, I hit him with that uppercut and sent him right back down. And when he fell back down on the bunk, I was on top of him. And I grabbed his head and I was banging against the wall. I said, look here, man. From here on out, man, you don't say nothing to me. Get up on the top bunk. Right? I took the bunk. Right? I let him know what it was. He said, man, we ain't got to do that. I said, shut up, man. And get up on the bunk. I said, I'm letting you know what it is right now. Don't ever talk to me like that. As long as we in this cell together, don't you ever talk to me like it again. See, what it was, he was trying to be slick and said something about my butt. You feel me? Said something about my butt. The boy, I'm going to go on to tell you what he said. I ain't embarrassed because I took care of my business. The man said I had a cute butt. Who does that? I give him no indication that I was on that. But see, he threw that out there to see what I was going to do, how I was going to respond to it. He tried to test me. And I showed him what the test was. He failed. He got a failing grade. I tried to break his jaw, crack his head. Because you're dealing with monsters in here. All of y'all that want to come up in here. Quit playing. It ain't what you think. Because one day you're going to have to show and prove. One day. These people ain't playing up in here. You got some sick people up in here. But let me get to the story, right? This story is about a young dude named Ronnie. See, Ronnie, little dude, chill, didn't mind nobody, didn't bother nobody. But they put him in this cell where it was real evil in it. And it was this dude in that cell named Big Drew. Now, a few months before that, the last dude that was in that cell, he died of a heart attack during count. Died. That's what they said. Now, the COs, they didn't even find him until about lunchtime because he was laying in the bunk. He was laying in the bunk. And when they moved that young dude in there, everybody knew what he was walking into. We all felt it. He was moving into an area where it had a lot of bad energy. It was like the death in that cell was left there. And that's kind of like it is in here. You know, it's different cells in here where people have died at different prisons. And it's almost like, and I'm not exaggerating, it's almost like their souls are still there. You know? And you could feel it when he was walking in there because he paused at the door. When the officer opened the door, he paused. And it was just pure darkness in the part of the door when he opened it, when the officer opened it. It was just dark. You couldn't see all the way in. It was like you could reach your head in and see beyond the darkness and pull your head out. It's almost like two different realms, two different universes, right? And he stood there, man. And you could see the officer looked at him and said, step on in. And he looked back at the officer. He didn't want to do it. We was watching through the window. Right? We saw him. He didn't want to do it. Now, this was close level 2 back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Where we're coming off of max. Then you got to go to close level 1, close level 2. And you had to sell it. They're trying to get you accustomed to having to sell it. All right? And Big Drew had been on max for years. This is before they changed the number of years you can be on max continuously. He had been on max for years because he wasn't no good. So when they put dude and then when they put Ronnie in there, it was almost like the police felt sorry for him, but he had to go into the cell. So he went into that cell. And look, young, 19 years old, skinny as a rail, y'all. He looked like he hadn't slept for months, you know? They were talking about he had some kind of old petty charge, all that weed pill, something minor, but it got him enough time to have him sent to the penitentiary, right? From the little county that they sent him from. Man, it was almost like taking a rabbit, a little bunny rabbit, and putting him in a cage with a wolf. What do you think's gonna happen? You know the outcome. But because the rules say you gotta put him in there, the police had to put him in there. And that first night, I heard him. We all heard him. He was crying through the vents. See, the ventilation system is how we communicate with each other when you're in lockup. You know? It's just like a phone. But we could hear him crying through the vents. At first, it was like low and muffled. And then it got loud. As the days went on, it got loud. And it was kind of like the kind of cry that, you know, where you don't care who hears it. You hope somebody hears it. It's like from the gut. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And it just kept getting worse and worse as the days went on, you know? And for me, it was like torture listening to that. It was like torture. And by that 3rd and 4th and 5th night, he's crying so hard, you could hear him saying, please stop. Please stop. And I knew Big Drew's voice. And I heard him in there telling him, shut up. But it was like laughter in his voice. He enjoyed having other people suffer. He enjoyed making them suffer. Dude wasn't just mean. He had some evil in him. An evil streak was in him. So, me, you know what I'm saying, at the time, you know, when I came in, I understand the business, you know what I'm saying, mind your business, and see and don't see, hear and don't hear, don't say nothing to the police, this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't help myself. So when the officer came around, you know what I'm saying, at lunchtime that next day, and he was serving the child, you know what I'm saying, I mean, picking up the tray, because after you finish eating, you got to put the tray back in the flap, and they'll come around and they'll pick it up. And this particular day, the inmate that normally assigned to do it, he wasn't in there to do it, and so the officer was the one doing it. So I knew that was the time for me to say something. And I said, hey, man, y'all need to get little dude up out of that cell, man. And then he looked at me, listen to me now. The officer looked at me, gave me this blank stare, and said, move your face out the flap. Because, you know, the flap, I had my face all down in the flap. He didn't want to slam the flap in my face. He said, move your face out the flap. I leaned back. He slammed the door shut. I'm thinking, okay, he just playing it off because he don't want nobody to know. I just told him, man, y'all need to get little dude up out of that cell with Big Drew, man. Y'all know what it is, right? So he slammed it shut kind of hard and went on about his business. Trying to get this little dude up out of that cell. But see, what y'all need to understand out there, those of you want to throw rocks at the penitentiary, The system, rather, I'm going to say it like the system, it don't move because you crying. Nah. It don't move because you are suffering. That ain't how it works. A lot of people in the system, they believe that you put yourself in this situation, you need to deal with whatever it is. Oh yeah, of course, you know what I'm saying, they don't want this to happen, and if they see it happen, sometimes they'll stop it and all this and that, right? But now this back in the day, this before they came with the PREA rule. You know, PREA is Prison Rape Elimination Act. It was founded by George Bush, and it's funding that they give to the states to basically wipe out rape. So anytime somebody's assaulted, it has to be reported. They got to take samples, and they're going to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. That's now, but not then. Not then. And it's a great program. They should have it. You know what I'm saying? I wish they'd have had it back then, but they didn't. But this dude is in the cell, and the system didn't respond to his pain. The system didn't respond to him crying. The system just kept moving. It just kept on moving. That's that on that. And a week later, Ronnie, this is the young dude's name, because we're on like what they call tier management, and that means the top level can come out and the bottom level can't, and then when the bottom level comes out, the top level can't. So we were on the top level, and when we would come out, sometimes depending on the officer and what was going on, they would let us eat at the tables, right? So this particular day, it's about a week or so later, maybe a little longer, we're sitting at the tables eating and chilling. And we think we're going to have enough time to play dominoes before they run us back in. So we get some dominoes, and Big Drew, you know what I'm saying, he asks, man, who got next? He ain't now want us to say nothing. Ain't nobody say nothing. About that time, we look up. We see the young cat, Ronnie. He coming out the cell. Dude got a black eye. I'm talking about the kind of black eye where your eye shut. You know what I'm saying? You got to winch with the other eye just to see, because that one is closed so tight, and it's like a golf ball or something is poked out of your eye. That's how big and swollen his eye was. You know what I'm saying? And it had pus coming out the corners of it, making my eyes water just describing this to you. And he had this dead stare in his face. Didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. He moved like it wasn't nothing in him. No life, no nothing. Cars running in, cause cars. Dude ain't saying a word. Big Drew acting like they having a good face, playing the cards, throwing them down, not even paying attention to what he was doing. And Big Drew's winning, of course, cause Ronnie ain't even paying no attention to what's going on. His mind is gone. His mind is gone. And we sitting there looking, dude, starting to us. Because we didn't like that. It's one thing if you want to do that on your own. If you want to give it to him, but we wasn't on nobody taking nothing. We just wasn't on that. It was enshrined in our laws, man. You can't have them type of situations going on, right? So I was like, nah. Now keep in mind, I wasn't a 9 then, but I had a big voice. I'm like, nah, it ain't our business, bro. So one of the other brothers, he was like, we can make it our business. And we sitting there plotting. I'm like, how? What we gonna do? He said, man, I'm just gonna go over and I'm gonna tell dude to come over and sit with us. I said, and then what you gonna do when he go in that cell? He gotta go back in that cell, man. I said, anything we do gonna make it worse for him if he gotta go back in that cell. I said, I feel you and I'm with you. And I said, man, I don't like dude either, man. I'm with it, man. I'm going to crack his skull, but he gonna take it out on Ronnie. So one of the guys like, man, we need to go to the police and get him out of the cell. I said, bro, I already said something to him. Dude, they ain't hearing it. He said, man, we got to catch one of the female officers coming through, man. The female officers, they'll help him. I said, that's what's up. The next time a female officer work in here, every one of us need to stop her at the door and tell her what's going on over there with Ronnie. So we made a pact to do that, right? And one of the female officers was working the pod, Miss Phillips. Miss Phillips came in, you know, she was always laughing and joking, trying to cheer you up and all this, but she was about to be in it. She didn't play no game, strictly policy. If you're supposed to get it, you're going to get it. If you don't, she going to take it if you got it. She ain't playing. And she'll hit that button and call them police in there. They coming to back her up. You know, let me tell you something about these women. If a female in here hit that button, them dudes coming. I'm talking about dudes, the biggest dudes you ever seen. They coming and they mean that because they not going to play about somebody disrespecting an officer first or a woman. They not going to do that. They just ain't going to do it. They just ain't going to do it. So when we saw Miss Phillips, we was like, yeah, this is what's up right here. This what's up. So she come around, she hit Brun themselves first. I see her stopping and talking. And she nodding her head and I see her face. She's starting to be concerned. She looked down in the direction of Big Drew's cell and all. She already know, everybody that worked that building know what's up with Big Drew. You feel what I'm saying? He should have never been off max. Never should have been put in a position to have a selling. Never. So she looked down and she see him, you know what I'm saying, looking in the cell right there. She finally make it to me. She done already talked to 3 or 4 brothers. She finally get to the cell I'm in. I said, Miss Phillip. I said, let me holler at you. She said, Baker, I already know. I said, what you know? She said, the problem is going on down in cell 306. I'm like, yeah. I said, you gonna do anything about it? She said, yeah, as soon as I get up out of here, finish talking to y'all, I'm finna go take care of that. She said, I just gotta look in that cell and see it for myself. I can't just take y'all word for it. I said, that's it. I said, you gonna see him. She go down and she turn on the light. They can control our lights from outside the cell. She hit the light. She tell him to come to the door. He come to the door. I swole. Now both of them swole. She said, baby, what happened to you? He don't say nothing. He don't say nothing. She looking at him and she tell him to stay right where he's at. She hit the button right then. Didn't move off the door. She said, officer needs assistance. Cell 306. Oh, they flew up in there. I'm talking about in 3.9 seconds, they in there. They come to the cell and said, what's going on? She said, I want this inmate taken out of this cell right now. And they looked at him and they seen what she seen. They called on the radio, told the tower, unlock cell 306. That thing opened up. They told him to step out. Big Drew get up in front of everybody. He said, you better not say nothing. Dude didn't turn around or nothing. He just had that look. I'm looking at him. He come out the cell. They shut the door. Miss Phillips takes him by his hand and she said, come on. She take him down the steps. I'm looking. I see his pants. He got his sweatpants on, right? I see his pants. His pants is soiled. Yeah. Look like he done pissed on himself and everything else. You understand what I'm saying? And he walking down the steps. And if you want to know how this turns out, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.